It's funny, before I begin, I have to give total props to my team that I have here this evening. Elisa didn't want to do the intro talk, though. And so Ash, being the amazing coach he was like, let's step into your fear, Elisa. We can do it together as a training exercise. So Ash, as you can probably tell, is one of my awesome coach. He works across my men and my women's events. As you probably are aware, I work with men and women pretty equally. I'm a little bit biased in that I might slightly prefer the women's causes. But I think when it comes to dating and love, we have to address both sides of the coin. I'm going to be doing a lecture for about 90 minutes. Sounds a bit serious and formal, but it's because I think that hopefully the ideas and some of the ways I'm going to be sharing with you today of looking at love and dating, I really hope to genuinely to shift your perspective, because as far as I'm concerned, women are surrounded by noise about love and dating and romance, which actually makes you feel very disempowered and very bad on a day-to-day basis. So I want to take at least 90 minutes before you go back out there, where I can hopefully give you a completely different way of looking at things. I just want to talk to you a little bit. Oh, yes. Technology has not defeated me. Here we go, we're beginning. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about my background for those of you that are new to my events, because I think it's one of those things, even I'm standing here thinking I look around your fashionable, intelligent women. For those of you that sent me your forms in, we've got a lot of PhDs in the room, no pressure. So I know you're smart, you've got your business stuff together. I'm not here to patronise you or tell you that I'm holier than thou. What I would say is I've got a very interesting perspective on love, because I've had an unusual set of life experiences that probably, I think, hopefully have enabled me to see things in a slightly different way. And I think whenever you think about personal development, whether that's improving career or health or Elisa convincing me to go vegan, it's a change of perspective changes everything. And for me, what that started out with is I really did not intend to be a feminist dating expert. That wasn't what I was sitting there thinking about doing when I was 16. When I was 16, I was basically an awkward, shy teenage girl living in rural Cornwall, very nice to visit for a holiday. When you're a teenage girl, though, you basically get annoyed that the buses stop running on Tuesdays. And I'm honest to God, the first experience I had dating-wise was a boy kissed me for a 50p bet because I was the ugliest and most awkwardest girl in the school. And I thought he really liked me, Laurie McCall, but it turns out he didn't. I'm just naming and shaming now while I can. After that, I grew up very, very poor. Both my parents are disabled. Found my way to London, worked in all kinds of jobs, from a Portobello Road as an antique dealer, to a fitness instructor, to a flyer girl, to put myself through university. Then out the other end of that, while I was studying particularly about psychoanalysis and gender, I came across this underground, weird community of pickup artists. Who's heard of pickup artists? Yeah, okay, pickup artists. We got. Ash starts to look worried at this point. So the pickup artists, for the uninitiated, are an underground, secret, cult-like, community of men that teach other men how to seduce women. Really? If any of you have been chatted up on Oxford Street at any point in time, probably a pickup artist. So a pickup artist, it sounds really, I'm going to spin this around, it sounds really evil. They get more facts. They live in lairs, which means lots of men live together in a really messy house. And then they go out and they train other men how to get better at approaching women. So that could be saying hello to them during the daytime or seducing them. The whole industry was launched by a book called The Game. Anyway, I found out about this. I read the book as well. I found out about this and I was like, feminist student, I was like, right, I'm going to go in there. And because I've spent most of my 20s being basically foolish and trying to go into as many dangerous situations as humanly possible, this is one of the first ones I tried. Twitter had just begun, got onto Twitter, contacted these male pickup gurus. Of course, because at this point I'm an attractive-ish young university student. They're like, hey baby, do you want to write some blogs for me? And I'm like, sure, that would be amazing, thinking secretly I'm going to infiltrate their organization and take them down from the inside. And it's taken about 10 years or something to turn it around. But when I first started, I didn't have any, because of I'd grown up being such a street urchin, not having anything, really hustling to try and get by. when a pickup artist says, yeah, sure, write some blogs for me, come and live in my house in New York. I'm like, cool, New York, sounds like fun. On a plane I go. End up living in a bunch of layers with male pickup artists, never in a romantic sense, across America and then in the UK. So I got a weird and privileged access to this underground community of men. Now, funnily enough, I'm not gonna lie, there were some really creepy ones in there, and I met them all. However, in there, most of the men that were turning up to these seminars and events like this, but male, less Prosecco, yeah, I was surprised that they weren't actually like, you'd expect them to be evil or really like, ugh, creepy. They weren't. They were like normal men who just, for whatever reasons, they were finding it really hard to connect with women. They didn't want to have 16 stripper girlfriends or live in the Playboy mansion. They just usually wanted a woman to acknowledge their existence. So it started to change my perspective about how men viewed dating and what was going on. After working, training men, actually, for many years, I then started to think that my original cause was actually to help women, splintered off, started up my own business, started to work with women. There were some experimental periods during my early days of coaching women where it was like, okay, so I've been treating men to approach women during the daytime on the street, so maybe we can just flip it around and it'll be the same. So you were lucky you didn't catch me in my more experimentational period, otherwise we'd all be out running around Oxford Street right now, hanging out outside male modelling agencies. It would be a bit of a laugh, but we wouldn't probably be getting very far with it. But after many years, I've been really lucky that now my women's side of my business is probably equally developed. I keep there working with the guys because I think it's so interesting hearing what men are going through. And one of the things I want to share with you today is, as much as I am definitely woman power orientated, I want to enlighten you to what guys are really going through so we can empathize and understand them a bit better in the hope to build the bridge from both sides. So we're going to do some of that, but that was some of my background. Since then, I've been really lucky that I've had a TEDx talk that went super viral. It's going viral at the moment. I think it's going to hit 500,000 views by the end of the year and be featured in a bunch of places. But my main cause is really just helping women to start to see love a little bit differently. Yes. So while you're single and unhappy, my first thing I want to talk about is you might be happy or feeling feelings of contentment, but what I wanted to bring to some awareness at the start is if you are, as would be completely human and normal and natural, like anyone, I think, who has that Sunday night feeling of you've had a crap week. Like I actually had a bit of a bad week, to be honest. When I was running last Sunday, I managed to fall over myself. And I've cut all my arm. And then I will show you the injuries later if anyone's really into that stuff. Then the next day, I managed to open a pack of contact lenses, and it was a bad batch of contact lenses, and I put it in my eye. My eyes burnt like crazy. I had to go to the eye hospital. So you have a couple of, and then because I'm not really focused, stuff is going wrong in my training programs, I'm getting stressed out. And then if you're in that zone, we all have bad weeks. And no matter how freaking strong, smart, independent, cool, personally developed, awesome, spiritual, aligned, all that good stuff, we're all very aligned. No matter how aligned you are, life can unalign you sometimes. And in that moment, you can be like, oh, well, this is a bit, this is what's even worse is now I'm sitting here dealing with this by myself. This wasn't what I signed up for. This wasn't how I thought life should be. And you start to get into that noise. And the first thing I think to get to start you guys approaching dating and love better and in a way that serves you more, that makes you feel more awesome on a day-to-day basis, is start to recognize how much of this noise around you on a day-to-day basis, on top of all the other shit you have to do, like we all have our careers, we have fitness, we have attempted veganism, we have the yoga, we have the meditation. I'm turning my phone on airplane mode for 1 hour before I sleep, and I'm thinking and I'm doing my breathing exercises. I'm grounding myself. We're trying to do all of that whilst being super modern, amazing women, educating ourselves, getting our qualifications, building our businesses on our brands. And then you are at the same time surrounded by a world, media, books, music, movies, most mainstream dating advice that really ticks me off, that tells you a really bad and I think disempowering message about where women are in the ecology of love. So I just want you to think about it this way. We can probably all accept things like, if we look at work or the office environment, that was probably not most perfectly designed with a woman in mind. That was designed for men. And a lot of the time when I started to think about love and dating, I realized that how we're approaching it is in a way that's very designed for a guy. And the messages that you hear as women on a day-to-day basis can be pretty horrible. Like one of my private female clients, she told me that she went to like a baby shower, which sometimes, you know, baby showers, weddings, birthdays, New Year's, Valentine's. There's several occasions throughout the year that are designed to make you feel worse or not as good as you would do normally. She's at the baby shower and somebody she barely knows, and I think this is weird that people that you barely know feel that it's cool to say this to you, came up to her and said, "So, you married?" And she went, "No." "Any children?" "No." And she just went, "I'm so sorry." Dum, dum, dum. But the thing is, I think we get little subtle bad messages like this a lot. Whether it's someone saying, I think sometimes people don't know what to say. If you're a woman that's single or choosing to be by herself or hasn't met that right connection or whatever it is, they struggle to kind of, it's like, feels like something that needs to be explained in a way that it doesn't need to be explained with a guy. You know, if a guy's single, everyone's just like, he's a bachelor, he's probably having a great time. You know, no one thinks about a bachelor as a negative thing or something we need to question. You're single, I'm looking around the room, got some babes in the room, okay? Not that it's all about that, but you've got your well-presented, amazing women. People don't get it. They can't understand the fact that a woman would choose or is currently by herself.